I admit when I'm right. I admit when I'm wrong. I was horrifically wrong on the Atlanta Falcons. The NFC champion Atlanta Falcons, my apologies. What a dominating performance last Sunday in the NFC Championship game for the Falcons. Congratulations to Matt Ryan, to Dan Quinn, and your NFC champion Atlanta Falcons. We went into this game saying that Matt Ryan in the offense was going to show up. And for those of you who say that I underestimated Atlanta, go back to last week's show, the clip is on YouTube, and explain to me how I underestimated Atlanta. What I did wrong was I overestimated Green Bay and forgot that without Aaron Rodgers, if he's taken out of the equation, which he was, Green Bay has no talent and is not a playoff team. That's what we all forgot over the last couple of weeks. Green Bay found their cooldown period. Atlanta took control of the game. I never underestimated the Falcons' talent. Never underestimated what the offense was going to do. I said first one to 50 wins the NFC Championship game. I was 6 points from being right because I knew Atlanta was going to put up points. What I didn't expect was Green Bay to just lay down and sunbathe in response. That was a horrific performance by the Green Bay Packers. Horrific. So I never underestimated Atlanta. I never once said that they had no chance. I said Green Bay was going to win the game, and here's why. However, during the show last week, I said, here's how Atlanta could win the game. I gave my points on how I thought they could win the game, and everything that I said happened. I said Atlanta has to stop Aaron Rodgers. They got to contain him. The O-line for Green Bay was dreadful. Dreadful. And they were dominant over the last couple of weeks with Aaron Rodgers. They fell apart in the Georgia Dome. That's number one. Number two, Atlanta's defense came to play. The secondary was on point. Number three, what I didn't expect, the Green Bay receivers were awful. It looked like Pee Wee football in the Georgia Dome. One, I don't know why Jordy Nelson was playing with 2 broken ribs. That was probably one of the worst decisions the Green Bay medical staff ever made. He had a horrible game. I had the stats right here. 67 yards. Yeah, he scored a touchdown. Big deal. You saw the pain in his face. Every time this guy got hit, it got worse. Why was he playing? Randall Cobb couldn't catch the ball. Jared Cook couldn't catch the ball. It was embarrassing. So don't put the whole thing on Aaron Rodgers. Not the whole thing. For 8 weeks in a row, Aaron Rodgers single-handedly, and I've said it on SMC Sports many times, put the pack on his back. He couldn't do that in Atlanta. And because of that, we found out what kind of a team Green Bay is. And we'll get into a little bit of that in a second, what I mean. But Atlanta, my God, 44-21 over the Packers. Matt Ryan, he may win the MVP next week. Here's why. In the biggest game of his career, in a game that he wasn't given a lot of credit for, in a game that a lot of people picked Green Bay to win, including myself, I thought that with Aaron Rodgers alone, Green Bay could win the game. Matt Ryan, 27 for 38, 392 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. He was phenomenal in the final game ever inside the Georgia Dome. Julio Jones, 9 receptions, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns. Sanu had a touchdown. And to me, the biggest turning point in the whole game was when Green Bay was down 10-0, and they were driving down the field. And Ripkowski has a hole in the middle, wide open in the end zone. He's looking at the end zone, and here comes Jalen Collins with the strip in the end zone. And Atlanta gets the ball back for a touchback and then drives down 80 yards for a touchdown. That's when I knew Green Bay was in serious trouble. Aaron Rodgers had no help with his O-line, no help with his receivers. Aaron Rodgers could not find his way out of the pocket to make plays. Atlanta did everything perfect. And I said it on Sunday, for Atlanta to win the game, they had to be perfect on both sides of the ball. And they were. They were phenomenal. Congratulations to your NFC champion, Atlanta Falcons. And if you are a football fan in general, you have to love this story. It's amazing. It is simply amazing. And it's a good, feel-good story for the Atlanta Falcons, especially because who they're going to go up against. And we're going to get to the AFC champions a little later on. But just speaking about Atlanta for a minute, you've got a young head coach. You've got a young team. You've got an MVP caliber quarterback who's taking you into the biggest game you guys are ever going to play. And I know a few Falcons fans out there. One of them I grew up with. He's never seen an Atlanta big game. He was alive for the first one, but we were only really 2 years old. So I'm sure for him, where Atlanta's going to be in Houston, and he's finally going to be able to realize how it feels. I'm sure that's got to be very special. Now, me as a Dallas fan, I've never seen one. I'm still waiting. I'm almost 21 years old. I have never seen a Dallas appearance in this game. Ever. I wasn't even alive for it. Our good buddy here at McChesney Sports, Sean Martin, turned 21 yesterday. You want to know the significance of his birthday? The last time the Dallas Cowboys won a championship. He was maybe 6 hours old when it happened. But nonetheless, if you're a Falcons fan and have never seen this appearance for a championship, This has to be special for you, and congratulations, you guys have rightfully earned your place. For the last few weeks, I have been praising the Green Bay Packers for everything that they've been able to accomplish. And I'm not taking anything away from that. But let's be honest here, they laid down and died in the Georgia Dome. I don't understand really where it started. Now, we knew Green Bay was due for a cool-down period. And I have been saying for weeks that if Aaron Rodgers is not a factor, Green Bay has no chance going forward. I have said constantly that Aaron Rodgers is the reason that this team is still winning. I've said for weeks that Aaron Rodgers is the reason this team is advancing, and I said that Aaron Rodgers would be the reason that this team wins a championship. When they beat the Cowboys, I picked Green Bay to win it all. Yes, I was wrong, but I gave you the facts to prove why I could be right. The Atlanta Falcons, to me, are the most underrated team in the NFL. They're a young team, they've got young talent, not everybody gives them a chance, and now here they are playing for the championship in Houston next week against the big bad New England Patriots. It is good versus bad. And now I'll spoil my pick for next week. I'm picking Atlanta to win this game because I think they've got young, raw talent. I think their offense is phenomenal. And as long as their defense shows up, they're going to have no problem. That's what happened in the Georgia Dome on Sunday. We said going into the game that Green Bay was going to win. I said that. But then I gave you reasons as to why Green Bay could fall apart. And I was right on every single point that I made. Green Bay's O-line fell apart. Injuries all over the place. Why was Jordy Nelson playing with 2 broken ribs? Are you serious? Why was Aaron Rodgers not getting protection? Why were the receivers dropping the ball? There were 2 or 3 big drops in at least the first half alone. Aaron Rodgers did not play a great game, but he had no help from anybody wearing green or yellow. He had no help whatsoever. And now we knew Matt Ryan was going to tear apart the Green Bay secondary. Everybody's been doing that in the playoffs. Eli Manning did it, not that great. Dak Prescott did it, and Matt Ryan really finished the job. We knew going into the playoffs that Green Bay's defense was weak. We knew their O-line had trouble. But we knew as long as Aaron Rodgers was protected long enough, we knew if Aaron Rodgers had time to make plays, you were in trouble no matter what. It could be 12-on-1. Still, Aaron Rodgers is going to beat you if he has time. Atlanta gave him no time. Atlanta kept him off the field. There were 3-and-outs every other Green Bay drive. Atlanta did what no one expected them to do. Shut down Rodgers. Last week, I gave Atlanta a ton of credit for their offense. I did not think their defense was going to stop Rodgers. I will admit that here, and I will admit that I was wrong. I did not think that Atlanta's defense could stop Aaron Rodgers, and the only reason for that is because I thought Green Bay's offensive line would hold him back long enough for Aaron Rodgers to make a play, because you saw that against Detroit in Week 17. You saw that against the Giants in the wildcard game at Lambeau. You saw that in Dallas in the divisional round, and I expected it to happen again in the conference championship in Atlanta. Aaron Rodgers put the pack on his back. The pack just hit rock bottom at the wrong time. Now you have to understand, basically, that without Aaron Rodgers, this team doesn't have enough talent to win. So where do they go from here? Free agency? Draft? Because they need so much help in that secondary. Because when you look back at it, and I said this, without Aaron Rodgers, this team is not a playoff team. Without Aaron Rodgers, their 4-6 start gets worse and they miss the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers put together this unbelievable run, this unbelievable comeback to get his team back into position for a championship. Before it could even become reality, the pack hit rock bottom. It was amazing to see how much difference a week makes. And if you're the Atlanta Falcons going into this game, you probably have to think, hey, let them talk about Green Bay. We are the most underrated team in the NFL. Not talked about that much. But on game day, they destroy you in the worst way possible. That is what the Atlanta Falcons did to Green Bay on Sunday. And now when they get ready for Houston next week, does the same thing happen to New England? Again, without Aaron Rodgers, this team does not have enough talent to compete. And on top of that, injuries all over the place. They had an injured secondary, an injured O-line, an injured front seven, an injured offense. Everybody was hurt. And they were dropping like flies in the Georgia Dome. Now, I thought Aaron Rodgers would make this a competitive game. I thought if he had time to throw the ball, again, I said first one to 50 wins the NFC Championship game. Atlanta was 6 points away from 50. I knew Atlanta's offense would show up. I said they would show up. I said Matt Ryan is going to make enough plays for this to be a high-scoring affair. I thought Aaron Rodgers would do the same thing. I didn't know they were going to lay down and die. Put it this way, Green Bay missed the flight to Atlanta. It was that simple. They were horrific on both sides of the ball. You have to commend Aaron Rodgers for the run that he put together for this team. But when you stop and look back at it, you need to understand that without Aaron Rodgers, this team is nothing.